These are the stickers. And where are my markers? I should probably check my Instagram, huh?
Oh, this is broken.
Yeah, my model broke it. One of my models.
Are you still selling them?
I mean, why? How could they be worn?
No. That sucks.
Perfect condition, Claire's Juries. She's lovely, and she was very apologetic, and she actually offered to find them and rebuy them for me. Hall of Wonders, as it currently exists, has been around since 2018, but I have been selling vintage clothing since 1998, so that's 24 years. Not what the sales normally look like. They're normally like, all the hangers are the same. It's like curated. Well, Christina can tell you because she's my partner across the way at Pickwick, but.
I know, it's hard for you to downgrade it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Not to be like, oh, pat myself on the back, but it's just like, that's how I operated. Because that's what makes me happy, is to create like a little store, you know? And that store has to look really good and professional, but it would never look like this, that's for sure.
I think you did an amazing job.
Do you understand how unmotivated I was before you arrived? Christina found me just staring aimlessly at the stuff, paralyzed by indecision. She whipped me into shape. I feel like when I was a producer, it was there's 18 steps in advance, you know? I've got 60 people that I have to manage at any given time, and it has to be planned out to down to the very last detail. And now I just can't even, it's one step. That's all the mental capacity I have, which is kind of sad. But I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm trying to be grateful. A weird thing happens when the thing that you're passionate about is also your job, which is called burnout. It's taken a couple different forms over the years. There have definitely been breaks. I've taken breaks because I've had a whole other careers in between.
Does anyone want to tell me why a teacher and 4 girls from Mercer School were sneaking around my property on a Saturday morning?
This feels like the most, put a pin in it, kind of put a stamp on it more so kind of ending than the previous times. But never say never. I mean, the passion or the love doesn't just go away. It feels like it's changing into something else. Fashion for me has also always felt kind of like not a super worthwhile pursuit. Maybe that's my own negativity talking. But I'm married to a teacher who's a civil servant. And so it's hard to see myself in contrast having a meaningful impact on the world through fashion, which is, something that doesn't seem super necessary. Some of the stuff you've probably seen, actually a lot of it you've seen. Once I actually dug into everything, I was like, wait, I don't have as much as I thought.
What's the reason for the sale?
I'm moving
Where?
to Nebraska. That's where I'm from. So I've been pretty sick, but it is what it is. You can't I couldn't keep fighting it. I need to be.
Yeah, are you able to get better care in Nebraska?
I don't know. I mean, I'm in the UCLA system here.
How is that?
And it's good in some regards and not in others. I have a whole team because I'm like a rare case. I'm a rare disease case or whatever. So Nebraska has UNMC, which is like a very well-known, respected hospital, research hospital.
What is one thing that made you want to start selling vintage?
I'm adopted, and I inherited two things as a kid that were old. One was my great-grandfather's stamp collection, and the other was his marble collection. But other than that, my family did not keep heirlooms, and so there was nothing old ever around. In our house, it was all new. Everything was new, perfect, spotless. But I always really was drawn to old stuff, and I don't know why. I think maybe because I was searching for a sense of history or roots. So I had that implanted very young, and then I went to England when I was 10, and everything there is very old, obviously. And I was sort of enamored, and that was a formative trip for me. When I was in high school, my parents were like, get a job. And I was like, well, I want to work at the Goodwill. And they were like, okay. So I got a job at the Goodwill, and I worked there for 4 years through high school. And that meant I got to come into contact with things that were older that I could actually buy. Right around that time, eBay was coming into existence. A couple of things that I had gotten from a local antique store and from Goodwill, I sold on eBay, and I made a lot of money. And I remember my parents being like, whoa. And I remember being like, whoa, because I was making minimum wage at the Goodwill. I didn't know how I knew that it was special. I think I kind of have a sixth sense. Old stuff finds me. This is a skirt that was block printed by the Tapleys. They were like a couple out of the East Coast. Yeah. I had a PhD in Greek antiquities, translate all of the ancient Greek.
What?
And it's all the stories of like Agamemnon and these Greek myths. The best part, it's like they block printed their own tag. Like that. And their work was only shown one time at the MoMA, or no, the Guggenheim in New York. I feel like maybe it's time to take that piece to the Gene Autry Museum or something like that. Like I don't really have
You don't have a customer.
a customer for it, and it just feels like a piece that needs to be kind of saved or restored with people that are like really, the preservation of textiles is like very complicated because the oxygen in the sun is what damages it over time. So it'll disintegrate eventually, all of it. Everything you see here would be disintegrated in 500 years except for the plastics. So the new clothes will last. The polyesters and stuff will last forever. But all the silks, all the things we love will be gone. I think every dealer has kind of like a bucket list of things that they want to find before they die. Or every collector maybe. Because there is a distinction between being a collector and a dealer. Sometimes they overlap. They're not mutually exclusive, I guess. But for me, I really wanted to find a piece by Paul Poiret, who was a designer in the 20s. He's known as the king of fashion. He was a really famous couturier who kind of flamed out. He rode the 20s really bright and hard and fast, and then went bankrupt because he lived a really lavish lifestyle. But his designs are really cool, and his technique was really raw. Finding his stuff on the open market is pretty much impossible. It doesn't exist outside of museums, but I did find this weird farm auction in the middle of Illinois a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and I bid on a bunch of stuff sight unseen. I noticed that they had a few pieces. There was like a lot of farm implements and random furniture, but I noticed that a lot of the pieces were like really high quality, like Tiffany silver, or a couple of the dresses were labeled, and they were like obscure French couture pieces. And I knew the names of the designers because that's one of the things I spent a lot of time studying. So I thought, usually like where there's smoke, there's fire. If somebody had money and was spending money on that kind of stuff, usually they were spending money on other kinds of things. So if they were spending a lot of money on, dining services, they might have been spending a lot of money on clothing. And as it turns out, I received a box full of stuff. I bought a bunch of pieces, and the first piece that I pulled out of the box, I thought it was going to be a piece by, Lanvin or somebody else, but I opened it up and I immediately looked inside for the tag, and there it was, a Paul Poiret tag with the rose, his signature rose. It was designed by Paul Reeb, and I burst into tears. I just burst into tears. I was all by myself in my apartment, and I was shaking so hard. It was the most beautiful gold lame dress. It was actually hand labeled. It was from 1927, and it was called the Goddess Dress. And it was absolutely one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And I called my mom, and I was crying to my mom. My mom was like, "What?" Okay. During that period, I'd been really sick, and I remember thinking, like, is this it? Am I gonna die now? Like, is God throwing me a bone at the end of my life? That sounds so dramatic. But those things truly crossed my mind. I was like, I feel like this is a sign that, like, this is coming to a close. And then I found something else that was even more astonishing, at least to the average person. I don't think the average person knows who Paul Poiret is. If you work in fashion, you might. Or if you're a fashion historian, you would. But this other piece was something that everybody knew.
So now I have this film premiering in
Oh my God,
the
great.
end of the summer, so I'm like, aha!
I just put the stuff that I'm looking at right here on the edge.
Oh,
That's okay.
perfect, yeah. There's a mirror out here too. Some of it is like scraps to make stuff if you're a crafty person. Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
Oh wait, Mel, is that the dress that I modeled?
Yes,
Oh,
It's so soft.
good.
I believe it's Saks Fifth Avenue or Imagine. I don't remember, but the
Oh
tag.
yeah,
Oh yeah, the tag is down here too. There's a Magnon.
and so all the tags on here are like sale tags, yeah? Or
Any of the prices are not, it would be a third of that. If you see a
okay.
tag, like a
Of
Hall of
tags.
Wonders tag, it's like a third of that.
What about this one?
That one, so there's some issues,
What is
obviously.
it? Just like little spotting here and there?
Well,
The foxing?
no, it's like there's staining down somewhere. Oh, here, this is the biggest issue right here.
Okay.
But I could do 60 on it. It's still like, an amazing silk velvet.
And then this one.
This one,
Wait, it hasn't time.
$398, so yeah,
130.
$130, yeah. If you want to string a string through it, you can tie it. It's like ruffled.
oh, okay.
It's really cute, actually.
Got it. Okay.
But I would do 20 on those.
Okay.
Yep, 65 is perfect. Okay.
Yeah, this is so pretty.
Do you want to keep this on a hanger?
Oh, sure.
Do you want to just keep this hanger?
Sure.
Okay.
If you, well, you're possessive about hanger, like.
I am, but no, I'm letting that go. Like, do you see how good I am right now? I'm just like, it's over now. So I got through the first part of it. Thank you for freeing me of my attachment to my hangers. I can tell you how it started. I went to a charity shop that I frequented a lot. It was a small shop that was kind of out of the way. I went there because it wasn't picked over usually. I walked in, it was a very hot day. They do have a vintage rack, and I know the owner and I'm friendly with the owner. And they had just, I don't know, I thought they had just put out a bunch of new stuff. It turns out that the stuff had been sitting there for a week, but there was this kind of jacket, this sleeveless sort of beach jacket that was terry cloth, and it had like a rhinestone collar. It was a peach color. It wasn't in very good condition, really. But at the time, I was really into towel clothing because that was becoming a trend, like taking old towels and turning them into jackets, or like even buying them the way that they would have been made in the 60s. Usually people would take these, kind of brocade print towels and with the fringe and turn them into like beach jackets. So I was like, normally that wouldn't be my thing, this peach terry cloth thing, but I guess at the time I was like, oh, terry cloth. So I picked it up. It was $10. I went to my car. I got in my car, and usually when I get to my car, if there's something interesting that I bought, I kind of look it over before I take off, and also because I just need to give myself a second. And I opened it up, and I was looking at the seams because I wanted to see if there was any kind of tag. People don't know this, but a lot of times the tag is in the side seam or even down at the bottom of a dress in the side seam. If you ever caught me on candid camera looking at vintage in a store, you would see my head underneath the dress looking around for the tag. You probably wonder why, but that's why. So anyway, I'm in my car and I'm looking at the side seam, and the terry cloth is known to kind of roll over on itself from age. And I'm trying to spread out the seam, and I am able to do that. And I see that there's this, it's called a bolduc. I think it's pronounced bolduc, boldu, I'm not sure. It's like a tape, like a piece of fabric. And it's got a handwritten notation on it. And it says, in all capitals, M. Monroe, and then a bunch of numbers, a letter and a bunch of numbers. And I was kind of like, no, I was kind of like, no. I could tell my nervous system was like turned on because I started to shake. And I remember being like, no, that can't be. I mean, who else's initials are M. Monroe? I live in LA. I know what a costume label looks like because I've handled old costumes. And I got home, I was shaking the whole way home. And I immediately went to social media, which is like the worst thing I probably could have done, or the best thing. And I posted a picture of it plus the tag, and I said, does anyone know what this is? Is this what I think it is? What is happening? And I received a flood of messages and responses. And a good friend of mine, Jim, who is usually right on the money about stuff, he messaged me right away and he said, this jacket is from How to Marry a Millionaire, which is a Marilyn Monroe film from 1952 or 53. And I just was in shock. I didn't believe him. I was trying to find ways to like disprove what he was saying. Because the jacket was peach, and in the movie it's a red jacket. And through talking to a bunch of people and more messaging, it became clear that the jacket was likely faded over time because dyes used for costumes were unstable. They weren't meant to last. And I compared the writing on the tag to other Monroe costumes, and it matched. It would have been somebody from the studio that was doing the tags. I also started getting emails from people being like, you need to take those posts down. You need to hide the fact that you have this because you don't understand like how rabid people are. People have had their storage units broken into, people that collect celebrity memorabilia. Like you are a vintage clothing dealer. This is a whole other beast. Like celebrity memorabilia is a whole other area of collecting that has a dark underbelly and all this stuff. So I called my dad and I said, do I need to get a safety deposit box? And again, at the time I was so sick. I think I had doctor's appointments at UCLA, and I'm pretty sure I strapped that thing to my body in a backpack on the front of my chest and took it with me to my doctor's appointment and explained to my doctor, like, sorry, but I have this thing with me that I can't be out of my sight. I'm having those kinds of episodes again, just like pretty frequently, and I don't know what to do, you know. They're gonna do some last pulmonary function testing on me before I leave, where they go in through my carotid artery. So, well, they're worried it's like a mitochondrial. I mean, congenital myopathies are kind of a mitochondrial disease anyway, but they want to see the data on how my mitochondria are functioning, because I'm just having moments of like complete shutdown where I'm losing my balance, I'm falling a lot. So people don't know like how sick I am, you know, but it's nice to do this. This is why I wanted to do this, because it's like helps me see everybody.
We love next time you have to take off, but
Thank you so much.
truly, like,
Yeah,
there will always be people
appreciate
there
it.
for you, even on different coasts and different time zones.
I appreciate that.
Even though we're all just different decades, we all love you.
Thank you. Well, Blythe, thank you for coming by, and I'm really glad you got some of those pieces.
Some of this stuff you'll see at me, some of this stuff you'll see at other people very soon.
Yeah, so here we are.
Love you.
I love you too. It's gonna be okay.
Seems cool. I mean, a nice place to like get away and.
The air is very clean.
You do too know your path, but a lot of it is hindered by being sick.
Well, I think just like letting it crumble a little bit feels good. Like, I'm about to be 40, and like, okay, it feels like this is all falling away, and now we're gonna start a new decade and
Clean slate.
clean slate. So I could do 20 on that. That's
So
the lowest I could go.
I think I need that. I don't.
It's really cool. Oh, girl, have you seen my Instagram? I'm just like
So good.
firebombing my Instagram.
Oh, I love it.
I'm literally just posting stuff being like, the world is dying, fuck everything. Like, that's what I feel like every post is.
I don't see it that
Not
way.
in those words, but like,
No, exactly. I'm like, I think it always. How much are these?
I would have to do 150 on them.
Okay, I'll let you know. I'll think
Okay.
about it. Let's see how my appointment goes today. I spent so much.
Okay, I'm sorry on
Leaving
these.
on
These
July
are,
12th. No time for anybody.
I'm sorry. I do have time. I've got
Oh,
time for
okay.
people.
Really?
I might not be with it, but I was with it today.
Yeah, you are.
Because I had been collecting for so long through auctions, that there were auction houses that dealt specifically in this kind of memorabilia and costumes, and one of them was Julian's Auctions in Los Angeles. And so I actually went to their website and I saw their little form for like, you know, do you have something you want to consign? And it was all these like, you know, red flag things like, we probably aren't going to get back to you right away. Basically saying like, most of the people who write us don't have anything special. Like, we can't guarantee we're going to like help you or get back to you. They made it very clear, like, they were not going to make it easy for you to get in touch with them. So I sent pictures and I sent what I knew. I said, I found this thing. I don't know what it is, but it appears to be a costume from this movie. And the president of the auction house called me the next morning. And he emailed me the next morning and was like, we'll take it. Here's the estimate for it. When can you bring it in? And I just about fell out of my chair. So I took it to the auction house and I show up and it's like this vault of a building. I mean, it looks like the CIA headquarters. It's so heavily guarded, which makes sense because they've got like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff probably in it. And there's no waiting room. You have to buzz from the outside to get into a waiting room even. So I buzz and I'm like, hey, I have an appointment with so-and-so. The person I was meeting was their expert on Marilyn Monroe. She had just come from another auction house, but she was one of the leading Monroe experts in the world. And I said, hey, I'm Melanie. I'm here to meet with so-and-so. And they said, okay. And then I waited for like 10 minutes and then they let me in. And they kind of like cracked the door open and they were like, who are you again? And I'm like, I'm Melanie. I'm here with this. I've got the jacket wrapped up. I'm here with this jacket. And they said, oh, I guess I had signed my email Mel, all my emails Mel. And so they were expecting a man. And they said, oh, okay, come on in. So then I'm in this waiting room, which isn't a waiting room. It's just like a room with a table. It's tiny. It looks like a terrible, like fluorescent lights. And it's kind of awful. And this woman comes out. And the first thing she said, I think she did introduce herself. And then she said, so let's see it. So then I'm unwrapping it. And she said, well, what makes you think that this is a Marilyn Monroe piece? And I explained to her again, what I knew about it. And so she started to examine it. And as she was examining it, her face went like just slack. I remember, it was like the whole mood of the room shifted. And finally, she was like kind of muttering to herself. And finally she looked over at me and was like, this is it. This is the real deal. I can tell you right now that this is real. And she explained to me why. And she said, well, take it. I'll go get the contract right now. And so they gave me a contract, and I thought about having a lawyer look over it. And I had dealt enough with legal contracts and entertainment law to kind of know how to read a contract. And I read through everything, and I was kind of prepared, actually. I had looked at a couple of consignor contracts, and I had consigned with auction houses. And so everything seemed above board, and they had a good reputation for the most part. And I signed the contract and handed over the jacket. And it went to auction, I think 16 months later. It was featured in the Hollywood Reporter. I remember that. And I was in the hospital the day before the auction. I was in the emergency room. Really sick. And I wanted to go to the auction in person, and I was not able to go. I watched it from home. And then I actually broke out of the hospital. They wanted to keep me, and I left against doctor's orders. I left against medical advice, so I signed myself out. And my husband and I signed myself out, and I said, I'm going home. And then I watched the auction the next day, and of course, because it was a star lot, it was at the end of the day, and the auction was like 10 hours. So we waited and waited and waited and waited and waited, and finally it was auctioned off.
Do you recall how much it was auctioned for?
The estimate I was given was between $20,000 and $40,000, but I was told that it could go for much higher depending on who was bidding that day. And it's sold with premium for just under $30,000, which I was happy about, but I think they wanted it to go for much higher. But I was like, I paid $10 for this. Then I was really like, wow, I think I'm gonna die. I was like, wow, I think this is it now, right? Like the soiree and then this is it. And I was so sick.
How many years ago was this?
This was in 2019, I believe.
You're still here.
I'm still here.
How do you think it went?
I think it went really well.
Yeah.
I think I've never sold this way before. Like, I'm so used to the market space where it's like high end and curated, and this is very mixed up. And there's something freeing about it because it's just like an explosion of all the things that kind of got hidden away. Like when you collect vintage for so long, you lose things that you bought and you stored, and then you like forgot that you had them. And then you open a box and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't know I had this stuff. It's like Christmas. So yeah, pulling all this stuff out was kind of emotional. But a lot of stuff did leave, and a lot of big pieces left with people that I really am happy. I'm always happy when somebody gets something and I know that they appreciate it and love it. So when my fellow dealers buy a piece and I know they know what it is and appreciate what it is, that makes me really happy. But also when like just the average customer, you can see that they're like really excited about something. That's pretty cool to do. I just want my purpose to be something meaningful. I don't know if this is it. It's meaningful to me, or it was. I'm trying to like let go of it in the hopes that maybe it'll like present itself to me in some different way. But as it stands, it just feels like stuff that's like a yoke weighing me down. A lot of people have come out and said, written me and said, like, please don't stop. Like, your point of view is like really special. It's just weird to me. I mean, like that's nice of them to say that, and I take it like with full heart. But it also kind of makes me sad that like, why does that give people joy? Why? I don't know.